Broadcasting live from the heart of New York City, featuring new musical guests every week, with a message and meditation from Reverend Justin Epstein, your weekly destination for a wholesome message and meditation. Welcome to the Unity Center of New York City.
Good morning, Unity. And welcome. We're happy you're here with us this morning. Looks like we might have maybe some rain here in New York City. We're not sure, right? Cloudy skies, but you bring your sunshine with you. Yes, good to see you all. And welcome online. For those of you online, we'd love to hear you. Please feel free to comment below. We want to hear where you're coming from. And we're going to get rolling now with a little music. Today our musicians are Johanna Beekman with her dad, George Beekman. They're coming to us from Portland, Oregon. And then we have Eddie Watkins Jr. from California is back with us again today. And next week, we're actually going to have in-person music next week. So not next week. It's the 30th. All right. God just spoke to me and corrected me. All right. So good having backup. All right. So let's do a little singing with Eddie Watkins Jr. I invite you to stand. I am as God created me.
Greetings, my brothers and sisters. Eddie Watkins Jr. coming to you live from Sebastopol, California, by way of Ocala, Florida. Right now, I'd like to invite you to stand up, clap your hands, and sing along. I am as God created me, in the light, in the love, in the glory. I am as God created me, in the light, in the love, in the glory. In the light, in the love, in the glory. In the light, in the love, in the glory. In the light, in the love, in the glory. In the light, in the love, in the glory, I am. In the light, in the love, in the glory. In the light, in the love, in the glory. In the light, in the love, in the glory. I am as God created me. I am as God created me. In the light, in the love, in the glory. I am as God created me. In the light, in the love, in the... I am as God created me. I am as God created me. In the light, in the love, in the glory. I am as God created me. In the light, in the love, in the light, in the love, and the glory. In the light, in the love, and the glory. In the light, in the love, and the glory. In the light, in the love, and the glory, I am. In the light, in the love, and the glory. In the light, in the love, and the glory. In the light, in the love, and the... I am as God created me. I am as God created me. In the light, in the love, in the glory. I am as God created me. In the light, in the love. I am as God created me. I am as God created me. In the light, in the love, in the glory. I am as God created me. In the light, in the love. In the light, in the love, and the glory. In the light, in the love, and the glory. In the light, in the love, and the glory. In the light, in the love, and the glory. I am. In the light, in the love, and the glory. In the light, in the love, and the glory. In the light, in the love, and the glory, I am. Clap your hands. In the light, in the love, and the glory. In the light, in the love, and the glory. In the light, in the love, and the glory, I am. I am. In the light, in the love, and the glory. In the light, in the love, and the glory. In the light, in the love, and the glory, I am.
Jill Marie, and I am going to be your inspirational reader today. Can you hear me? Okay. Good morning. I'm Jill Marie, and I'm going to be your inspirational reader today. I focus on the goodness of God and know prosperity. Sometimes I may worry, wondering if I will have enough of what I need. If thoughts of lack or limitations arise, I lift my thoughts from the things of the world to the truth of God. I focus my mind on the richness of divine life within me. I feel calm and assured as I remember I live in an abundant universe and am heir to everything God is. Even when my worldly fortunes shift, I am abundant in spirit. As I align my thinking with divine mind and prayer, I become receptive to divine ideas that prosper me. I claim prosperity and feel empowered as I do. My prosperity stems from my oneness with God. I count my blessings, feel grateful, and trust with understanding faith. I have enough. This is from the book of Psalms. Thank you.
Thank you, Jill. Following the service today, right after the service, we're going to roll into Ask Me Anything, where I'll answer whatever spiritual questions people have. So if you haven't submitted one online yet, then just think about what question you'd like to ask, as well as those of you online. So for those of you online, the link is live in the chat right now for you to submit your questions, or you can ask it during the Ask Me Anything. So it's going to follow right after the service, the Ask Me Anything. All right, so today we're continuing a series on awakening your chakras, energy centers. Anybody who's new to this, energy centers. And today we're talking about chakra number 1, energy center number 1, which affects psychological qualities such as steadfastness, faith, and loyalty. If you're here for the first time, we're glad you're here with us this morning. Welcome, 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 including those of you online. Welcome, first-timers. And I'd love for all of us, Unity folks, to give them a warm welcome to our first-timers this morning. Welcome, welcome, welcome. If you haven't picked up a welcome packet, we've got one right here in the foyer as you go. Inside is a gift for you. And if you're online and you're a first-timer, you can receive a gift by going to unitycenternyc.com, and there you'll find how you can get it there. So again, welcome. We're glad you're here checking us out today. Every Wednesday, we have a meditation at 3 o'clock, which I lead. And also Wednesday evenings, we have a women's group that meets as well. So you can go to unitycenternyc.com to learn more about the women's group as well as the meditation. Since we're going to have meditation time here during the service, we invite you to silence your devices, if you would. Thank you so much. We love to hear from Spirit today, and let's put everyone else on pause for at least an hour. How's that sound? Give yourself a social media break. Sunday, June 30th, which I mentioned earlier, after I was corrected, that we have in-person music with Jody Nent. That's June 30th. Jody Nent will be leading the music on that day in person. Next Sunday, we're going to look at chakra number 2. which is on adaptability, discrimination, and humor. That's next Sunday. All right, you ready to do a little more singing this morning? Get the heart energy going so we can use that for meditation. So sing along number 2, let's join and stand and join Johanna Beekman for Love Wins.
Good morning, Unity Center of New York City. This is Johanna Beekman. It's so good to be back with you from Oregon. This morning, I'd like to start with an upbeat sing-along. So if you would like to stand, clap, and sing along, it's a dear friend of mine, David Newman's song called Love Wins. Love wins. Nobody loses. Love wins. Over all the abuses, love wins. No excuses, love wins. Love wins. Love wins. When everybody chooses to take back the power and break down the walls, it's mind over matter. Take back control over the rainbow and under the mud. Nothing can stop one who knows what love does. Love wins. Nobody loses. Love wins. Over all the abuses, love wins. No more excuses, love wins. Love wins. Love wins. When everybody chooses forever after and never before, to the end of the line there will always be more. Fact over fiction and truth over lies. We reap what we sow, become what we despise. Love wins. Nobody loses. Love wins. Over all the abuses, love wins. No more excuses, love wins. Love wins. Love wins. When everybody chooses love. When everybody chooses love. When everybody chooses love. Love, love, love. Everybody chooses love. Love wins. Nobody loses. Love wins. Over all the abuses, love wins. No more excuses, love wins. Love wins. Love wins. Everybody chooses love wins. The power and break down the walls. Take back the power, 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 break down the walls.
All right, thank you, Johanna. Let's take time now for our prosperity celebration. Let us acknowledge Spirit as the source of all of our abundance. And we participate in that divine activity, that spiritual principle that as we give, we receive. I'd like you to think of it like in the very giving, in every area of our life, whenever we give, we are opening out a way through which more abundance can flow from inside of us. So as you give, you receive a greater flow of Spirit of God through you, through your life, in every area of your life. So let us take a moment to bless our gifts today, bless our donations, and we give with a feeling of gratitude, gratitude to Spirit, gratitude for God's good in our life. And we send forth our gift knowing that it goes forth as a blessing and returns to us as a blessing. Let us join together knowing that divine love flowing through me blesses and increases all that I give and all that I receive. Together, divine love flowing through me blesses and increases all that I give and all that I receive. Thank you, Father, Mother, God. That's a time where we're seeking to quiet the mind, open the heart. How many of you would like to not just think about God, not just talk about God, not just read about Spirit, but actually experience some inner peace, some inner joy, some inner love? How many of you are interested in that? Well, that's what meditation is about. It's about learning to quiet the restless mind and tune in to that source at the center of our being. So that's what we're going to be doing in just a moment, to get still and quiet. Now, we have, a few months ago, asked our musicians to, some of them are incorporating some chants from Paramahansa Yogananda and other chants to help lead into meditation. So the one today is one from Paramahansa Yogananda. I awake in thy light, I awake in thy joy, I am joyful, I am free, I awake in thy light. And the idea is to sing over and over and over to lift up your heart's energy so you can then take that energy into meditation. All right, ready to stir up some heart energy? Get that going. So the people, the ones who were like, I don't feel like stirring up any heart energy, that means you really need to do it. You see, those of you who are used to it are like, yeah, I love to stir, you know. You need to calm that down a little bit now. Take it inward. All right, so let's join Johanna Beekman and her dad, George. Awaken thy light, awaken thy joy.
Johanna and George here on the drums for this next chant. This is going to be a more contemplative chant by Paramahansa Yogananda called Awaken Thy Joy. I awaken thy joy, I awaken thy joy, I am joyful, I am free, I awaken thy joy, I awaken thy light, I awaken thy light, I am joyful, I am free, I awaken thy light, I awaken thy love, I awaken thy love, I am joyful, I am free, I awaken thy love. I awaken thy joy, I awaken thy joy, I am joyful, I am free, I awaken thy joy, I awaken thy light, I awaken thy light, I am joyful, I am free, I awaken thy light, I awaken thy love, I awaken thy love, I am joyful, I am free, I awaken thy love, I awaken thy joy, I awaken thy joy, I am joyful, I am free, I awaken thy joy, I awaken thy light, I awaken thy light, I am joyful, I am free, I awaken thy light, I awaken thy love, I awaken thy love, I am joyful, I am free, I awaken thy love, I am joyful, I am free, I awaken my love, I am joyful, I am free, I awaken thy love.
Let us take a moment now to take a nice, refreshing, deep breath. Exhaling, letting your body relax. And scanning your body from your feet to the top of your head, consciously letting go of tensions and stress. Relaxing the feet, the calves. Relaxing that place behind the knees. Relaxing the thighs. Letting your abdomen and stomach relax. Relaxing the hands, the arms, the shoulders. Relaxing the chest and the back. Becoming aware of your neck, relaxing the front, the back, the sides. Moving awareness into your jaw, relaxing your jaw, your cheeks, your eyes, your ears, your nose, your forehead, your scalp. Scanning your body now from the top of your head to the bottoms of your feet. Notice any place that feels a little tight. You might want to gently tense and release that part of your body. The saints and sages of all religions teach us that you as a spiritual being are already enlightened. You just need to know it. That as a spiritual being you are already free. You just need to awaken to it. God is expressing as you. The I am that I am is being you. When you say I am, you are identifying with your true nature. Without attachments, without labels. Just I am. I exist. I am aware. I am being me. I am one with the great I am. And that I am, which is being me, is joy. A joy that is independent of anything going on outside of me. A joy that bubbles up from a spring of joy within me. That presence is expressing as love. I am love. Spirit spoke through Jeremiah saying, I have loved you with an everlasting love. For God's love is infinite. It never wavers. I am loved and I am love. Imagine yourself filled with the love of God, enfolded and enwrapped in that love, secure in that love, healed in that love. Quantum physicists tell us that everything we see comes out of the quantum field of light, including you and me. Great masters and sages say that you are beautiful light. If you could see yourself as I see you, you are beautiful light. Jesus the Christ said, you are the light of the world. Let your light shine. Know that for yourself. I am the light of the world. The I am, the God in you. I am the light in the world. Light of the world. I invite you to hold that idea in your mind now. I am the light of the world. And wait and listen within your being to experience the truth of God in you as you. If you could see yourself as a being of light, what would the color of that light be? Imagine that light filling your whole body, radiating through the cells of your body, filling the room, touching the people in the room, expanding beyond the room, uplifting friends and family members. Feel and see the light expanding to enfold the entire planet. Uplifting the animals, the earth, all of life, all people everywhere, with harmony, with peace, with love, with joy, with understanding, with fulfillment, with enlightenment. Global spiritual enlightenment. Emerson said, prayer is the contemplation of the facts of life from the highest point of view. And we conclude this prayer time now in gratitude for this realization, recognizing that right now in this moment we have added to or adding to the frequency, the vibration of the planet and everything and everyone on it. That we're sending out rays of love and healing and light around the globe. And we bring our awareness now back to the room where we are, feeling the chair beneath us, feeling our feet on the floor, beginning to move the body. Hearing the sound around us. Amen.
Now, this is a a simple sing-along. What I want you to do is every time I say, get out of the way, I want you to repeat after me. Get out of the way. Simple as that. Are you ready? It goes like this. Running around, fixing this and that, giving it up to God and then taking it back. Just release and let it go. You don't even have to think about it no more. Get out of the way. 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 Get out the way and let God do His thing. You look like the weight of the world's on your back. Just take a deep breath and cut yourself some slack. All that drama ain't good for you. You couldn't change a thing if you knew what to do. So get out of the way. 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 Get out the way and let God do His thing. Shine and the river's gonna flow. The tide's gonna rise without your say so. The universe is working and the good is flowing. You don't plant a seed, then dig it up and see if it's growing. Get out of the way. Hey, get out of the way. Get out of the way. Get out the way and let God do His thing.
All right, Eddie Watkins Jr., thank you. Get out of the way. Wow, that's a good message, isn't it? Get out of the way. Yes. How many of you ready to get out of the way? Say yes. All right. I wanted to lead you in a little visualization now. Part of our chakra number 1. So I'd like you to imagine yourself. You ready for this? Take a deep breath. Good. And I'd like you to imagine yourself as a boulder sitting by a stream or a river or Central Park. Feel yourself on a boulder right now. You're a boulder. You're a boulder. Imagine yourself as a boulder. Notice how you feel as this boulder. Listening to the stream or feeling the air and the breeze and hearing the sounds around you. How does it feel to be a boulder? Get into that feeling. What qualities emerge inside of you as you feel like a mighty, strong boulder? All right. And now, take that qualities inside yourself, incorporate those qualities, and you can open your eyes. So, what I would like to hear from you is, what qualities came up for you feeling like a boulder? I want to hear from you in the space and also online. What qualities came up for you as you were a boulder? Don't everybody talk at once. Yes. Steadfast. Steadfastness. What color would you say that is? Orange or red? Red? Good. Guess what color color the root chakra is? Red. Steadfastness. Can you see that in the back? Okay. Anybody else? What quality came up for you? Grounded. Feeling rooted. This is a root chakra. You're sitting on your root chakra, right? Grounded. We have online strong. 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 Anybody else feel strong when you were a boulder? Yes. What else? Solid. Solid as a rock. Anybody else thinking that too? Solid. Solid. Immovable, right? Solid. Yeah. Online we have deliberate. And determined. Yes. That's interesting quality, isn't it? For being a boulder, right? With that rootedness, that groundedness, that determination, that solidness. Yes, those are all wonderful. Anybody else have a longing? Back in the left over here. Focused. Yes. Focused. Not scattered, not distracted. Focused. How about concentrated? Concentrated. Or concentration. Yes. Confident. You're a confident boulder. Yes. Powerful. Yes. Nobody's going to be moving that boulder around unless it says yes. Right? Online, we have anchored. Resistant. In a good sense, I imagine. Bold. Old. Okay. Oh, whole. Thank you. I got a thing in my ear, so. Whole. Yes. Excellent. Excellent. Very good. Now, all right. One more. At peace. Yes. Very good. Very good. Anybody need these qualities in your life? How many of you need any of these qualities in your life? They are the root chakra, right? The root chakra that has to do with many of these qualities, being steadfast, being firm, being stable, right? So that you can do the things that you need to do. And they affect, down here, you're sitting on it, the root of the spine, they affect your hips, your legs, your feet, your elimination areas and all that, right? Without getting too graphic. All of that. That energy there. So that energy, when it's flowing freely upward, results in these qualities. When that energy is misdirected or restricted, then it can become obstinate, stubborn. Anybody know anybody stubborn? You're honest. Anybody know anybody stubborn intimately? Resistance to change. Likes things the way they are. Likes the status quo. Doesn't like things to change. That's when the energy is misdirected, restricted. So, as we said last week, we want the energy to flow freely. We want it to flow inward and up. And the elements, the yogic understanding of elements is related to each of these energy centers or chakras. This is the earth element. And what's interesting now, it's not what a chemist is going to say. These are the yogic understanding of elements. And the yogis talk about the element of earth, water, fire, air, ether, and super ether. We're going to talk about each one of those a little bit, each time, each week. And what happens, according to the sages, is that when you and I were created by Father, Creator, Spirit, whatever you call it, that's transcendent to everything, it began to go from super ether to gases and to energy, primordial energy, gas, and then that became more solid and so on, becoming each of these elements, becoming earth, the most solid. So this root chakra is the most solid quality, right? And it can be, when it's overdone, can become heavy, can become dull. People can get very involved in materiality, attachment to stuff. One person said when that quality is overbalanced, people can, they like, I don't know if this is true or not, but it's interesting, get very heavy-minded and interested in solid furniture and heavy furniture and, and you can become obstinate. So let's talk about some of the positive qualities of, and if you recognize any of those things in yourself, that's fine, that's great. That's called awareness. Oh, it can also become judgmental, overly disciplined, too much, too controlling. If you notice, recognize any of those things, that's a positive thing. Don't get upset with yourself. That just means, hey, I'm being honest. And there it is. And now what I want to do is I want to focus attention on the positive qualities of it so I can bring those forth. And I want to take the energy of that chakra and move it up to the next chakra, which we'll do a little meditation at the end of this message to help you do. See, so you don't have to be upset and go, see, I just can't change and that's the way I am because I'm human. No, you're not just human. You are a spiritual being living as you. Right? You are God living itself as you. So we're here to grow, to unfold. If you don't grow and unfold, you get stuck. And that's another quality that's misdirected energy of the root chakra, stuck. Stuck. Anybody have any projects that you're stuck on? So the first couple I want to talk about is steadfast, persistence, stick to it, firmness of purpose. How many of you could use that in your life? That's the root chakra. Energy flowing freely. And I remember, as I was preparing this, I remembered when I was a kid, little kid, a book that was read to me. I don't know who read it, but somebody read it to me. The Little Engine That Could. Anybody read that or have that read to you? Boy, I'm glad somebody read that to me as a child. That was a good one. I think I can. I think the little engine trying to get to the top of it's in the middle of the hill, and I think I can. And then, I won't give you the ending. That's the root chakra. Steadfast. I think I can. Jesus, with God all things are possible. With God you can do it. See, steadfast. How do you remain steadfast when things are tough? How do you remain steadfast when you run into difficulties? Because that happens. Who here has a project you started, or projects you started and you didn't finish? What the late Eric Butterworth called dinosaur eggs. They never hatched. They never hatched. They just sitting around. They never made it. Who here has some dinosaur eggs? Unhatched projects. Yeah. Well, that could be included under the second chakra. You need to be steadfast, don't we? On the spiritual journey, you got to be steadfast because it's tough. It's tough. The illusion is very interesting, isn't it? You can get sucked right into the illusion. Next thing you know, you're in trouble. Next thing you know, you forgot what your whole life was about. Yesterday, I felt so centered and positive and spiritual, and today I want to wring everybody's neck. What happened? You got sucked in. You got to be steadfast. How do you become steadfast? Well, one thing is to be focusing on seeing yourself as steadfast, focusing on being more of these qualities in your life. Imagining you're a boulder. Go out and get a favorite rock. Hold on to that rock and see yourself with some of those qualities. It doesn't make you have those qualities. It brings up the quality that's already in you. Right? You don't have to go to the East-West bookstore and buy a candle that says firmness on it or whatever, and light the candle, and the candle's going to permeate you with firmness. You can. That's not a bad visualization, actually. I'm just having a little fun, you know. If you know me, that's not making fun of it. I've owned some of those candles. But you can begin to identify yourself with those qualities. And then what happens? As a man thinketh in his heart, so is she. You become that, right? So identifying with it. And one thing that I found helpful over the years was being clear on what are my values. What are my values? What do I think is most important to me in life? What are your top 5 most important values? Anybody want to say an important value?
Honest.
Courage. Beautiful. That's a root chakra quality. Honest. Honesty. Loyalty. That's a root chakra quality. Yes. Compassion. Good. Good. Take some time. Take 5 minutes to write down what are your most important values. And what is the order of importance? Because the order of importance makes a world of difference, doesn't it? Let's say money is a top 5 value. Family is a top 5 value. But you got money ahead of family. When the boss says, calls you in to work late for the 5th time in a row, you're going to say yes. Even if it's upsetting to the family, because the family's lower on the totem pole. If you're not conscious of what your values are and which one is important, you can lose your steadfastness for what's most important to you. Make sense? I did that early on, and for me, God and realization, God realization, knowing God was the top value for me. And that helped keep me steadfast. That helped keep me focused. Everything else below that value. And that's important, to know what your values are. That can help you be steadfast, persistent. Faith, clinging to the truth, to principles, is part of this. Clinging to truth. I used to, as some of you know, I used to live at Ananda Village, a spiritual community based on the teachings of Paramahansa Yogananda. I considered it my advanced minister training because I was already an ordained unity minister. And I went to Ananda in 1995 to deepen my understanding and practice of his teachings and to be in a community of people who were devoted to that. And it was a wonderful experience. One of the stories, when they first started that community in the 70s, they were living in teepees and tents, Northern California. They had to make it work, right? Buildings didn't just drop out of the sky. They had to start where they were. You go there today, there's an old dilapidated teepee still on the property. Now they have houses and whatnot. I lived in a house with other people and so on. But anyway, in the beginning, they had built this community and a fire burned everything down. Everything down. Can you imagine? I mean, these people were working to build this community, and then it all burned down. And they discovered that it was caused by a county tractor that had ignited the flames. And when it got burned down, they got back to work, started to rebuild. And Donald Walters, a.k.a. Kriyananda, was in town and he was whistling or something, walking in a shop, and they said, "What are you so happy about? The fire burned down your whole community and burned down other places. What are you?" He said, "Well, it didn't, I don't know, I don't remember exactly what he said, but basically, it didn't burn down my inner joy." But they chose not to sue the county because they clung to the truth that when you choose Dharma first, which means right action, there is victory. It's an old Sanskrit from the Mahabharata, ancient scripture, that when you choose Dharma first, there is victory. And they trusted. Why should we take out our misfortune on our neighbors? Because it was an accident. So they chose to not sue and instead to just rebuild. And then, of course, they rebuilt. And now they have communities around the country and abroad. Imagine that faith. That when you have nothing, barely nothing except your faith, and you could sue and get some money, but instead you feel, no, that's not the right way to go. We're going to go the right way, and we're going to be blessed as a result. That's called clinging to the truth, isn't it? That's really having faith in spirit as the source. And that's not easy to do either. That takes courage. It takes courage to have that kind of faith, doesn't it? Even the greatest Christian missionary, St. Paul, struggled with his faith. He said, "I believe, help my unbelief. I believe, help my unbelief." We all struggle with that faith sometimes, because appearances can be so enticing. We forget the truth of God as our source. And so we've got to encourage ourselves and keep on keeping on when we deal with our humanness. I'm going to share a little story about myself. That's a little embarrassing, but I share these stories to encourage you so that you can accept yourself where you are in your journey. Oh, about 20 years ago, I was buying my first car. The other cars were either given to me or I paid $200 for a car in New Jersey, sight unseen. Friend called me and said, hey, we got some friends want to sell us a car for $200. You want it? Yeah, I'll take it. Worked fine. Looked like a jalopy. So when it was time for me to leave New York and go on down to Hilton Head Island, minister to all those frustrated golfers, I couldn't drive that car down to Hilton Head Island. That wouldn't look right. Worked fine in New Jersey, but not Hilton Head Island. So I needed a car. I was renting a car for a couple months. I needed to buy a car. So I thought, what kind of car do you want? And I thought, well, I've always loved a Batmobile. Guess that's out of the question. How about a Honda S2000 convertible? So I went. They didn't have my color, but they had a beautiful white S2000. They said, hey, why don't you take it? Take it home, drive it a little bit, bring it back tomorrow. I said, okay. So I drove it around, top down. Beautiful weather all year long down there. And the next day, it was time to bring it back. It was an expensive car. And it was going to be a push for me to, on the minister's salary down there, a monthly payment on that car was going to be pretty high. Can I swing it? Should I do it? Praying about it while I'm driving. So, well, that morning I get in the car and I press the button to make the top go back. And it goes, oh no, I forgot to unlatch it. Then I pressed the button and it went back. Whew. So I start driving. Well, let me put some gas in it. So I pull in to put some gas in it. And then I'm like, okay, let me put the top up because we're almost there. I press the electric button and the top won't go up. I thought, oh my gosh, I broke the car. Haven't even paid for it yet. Haven't even decided I was going to buy it. I broke the car, the top. This is going to be expensive to pay for this top. I'm wondering how I'm going to do the payment. Now I got to buy a new top to the car. So as I was driving to the auto place, I was thinking, what am I going to tell them? Am I going to tell them I think I broke the top? I tried to make it go down without unlatching it? Or am I going to say, I don't know what happened. It was working fine. It went down. I don't know why it didn't go up. Dumb, look dumb, I don't know what happened. So I'm still thinking, okay, what am I going to do? I pull into the parking lot. I put the thing in park. I try one last time to push that button, and the top goes up. It had to be in park for the top to move. It wouldn't move unless you were in park. And boy, did I struggle driving to that auto place. Am I going to tell the truth? Or am I going to say, I don't know what happened? But you know what? When those kinds of things happen, it's a good thing. You know why? Blessed are those who are persecuted for righteousness' sake. Persecuted can be within your own self. You persecute yourself. That wrestling match that I was having, you don't have a wrestling match like that unless you care. You don't have a wrestling match with your conscience and what you know is right unless you aspire to live that way in your life. Isn't it true? There are a lot of people who go, of course I'm going to lie. They don't even think about it. I don't know what happened. Y'all gave me a messed up car. So it's natural, it's good. So, being steadfast in faith. I was not loyal to what I knew to be true. I wasn't courageous in that moment enough to say, I don't care what I did to the car, I'm telling them the truth. Period. Life is growth. We grow from our experiences. We can build our faith by regularly reading inspirational stuff, by hanging out with spiritual people, by exposing ourselves to good company, good sangha, as they say, by listening to inspirational stuff. The Bible says, so this faith cometh by hearing. By hearing. Loyalty. Being loyal to yourself, being loyal to God. Being loyal to yourself, being loyal to God. Do you listen to what's important to you? Do you follow your higher power, no matter what other people might be thinking? This is the root chakra. This is that steadfast chakra. The late Swami Satchidananda told a story of a Swami who came and visited a family. And he saw a young boy there who he saw was intelligent and very spiritual. And he thought this young boy would be a good Swami. He could be a great yogi. And he asked the little boy, he said, I'd be happy you can come with me. I'll teach you how to meditate. I'll teach you yoga. You can become a great Swami. Would you like that? And the boy said, oh, that sounds wonderful. I would love that. But there's one thing, Swami. What is it? My parents would not like that. They love me so much. They would die if I left them. Why don't you go ask them? So the little boy went to his parents. Mommy, Daddy, Swami wants to train me in yoga and meditation. I can become a great Swami. Oh, no. Parents said, oh, no. You know how much we love you. So the little boy went to the Swami and said, I'm sorry, I can't. And so he said, well, how about if you just take a little walk with me? Would that be okay? And he goes back to his parents and said, Mommy, Daddy, can I take a little walk with the Swami? Sure you can, but you better come back. So they go for a walk, and the Swami says, I would like for you to do an experiment. I'm going to put this little pill in your mouth, and what's going to happen is you're going to go back home, and about a half an hour you're going to sweat, you're going to faint, and your body's going to look like it's completely dead. You'll be totally conscious. You'll be totally aware. And then you'll come out of it. He says, okay, I don't know why you want me to do that, but I'll do that, okay. So he gives him the pill. The little boy goes home, half an hour, starts to sweat, he faints, and it's as if he's dead. The parents call the doctor comes, checks him out. He says he's gone. The parents start to cry. They're so sad. Then the Swami comes in. And he says, what happened? He said, oh, our son, we don't know what happened. He came in, he was fine, and then he came in and he's dead. Oh. He looked down, he examined the little boy. He said, you know, I think I can bring this little boy back to life. But only on one condition. He's going to need one of you to give your blood to this little boy. Now, you may not survive. You might, but you may not survive if you give the little boy your blood. Oh, Swami. No, I don't think so. We're hoping to have another child sometime. We can't do that, Swami. So the Swami bends down, takes the pill out of the little boy's mouth, and in a matter of minutes, the little boy revives, gets up, and says to his parents, "Goodbye, Mommy and Daddy. I'm going with the Swami." The point is, are we steadfast and loyal to ourselves, to our higher self, to that higher self that's calling us to be what we're here to be? Or are we letting other people decide what's important for us? Are we letting other people decide what we should be doing? Are we trying to live our life to please other people because we think they need us? Are we living our life because we think that that's where we're ignoring our own higher self, our own higher being? Jesus said, "Let the dead bury the dead." When someone said, "Oh, I can't follow you. I got to stay with my parents. Who's going to take care of them?" And Jesus said, "Let the dead bury the dead." In other words, let the people who are dead to their spirit, let the people who are dead to following God, living in tune with their self, let them handle them. You follow me. You follow your higher power. You listen to your higher self. That's what it means to be loyal to yourself and to God. So steadfastness, courage, clinging to truth, being clear what is important to me, being unwavering, being solid as a rock. That energy's inside of you. That energy is a potential inside of you. You know, I've been a minister for over 30 years, and at the time I was ordained, I was told the average Unity minister lasted about 2.5 years in the field. Unity is different than any other kind of ministry. In a lot of churches, people go because they think they're supposed to go. People go to church because if they don't, they're going to a hot place. If they do, maybe they'll be favored by God. Maybe they'll go to heaven. Not in Unity. We don't use fear to motivate people. My rock has been Spirit. My rock is tuning in to God. My rock is staying the course. The wise one said, "Build your house on rock. Don't build it on sand. If you build it on sand, the wind will blow, the rains will come, and your house will wash away. Build your house on rock. There's only one rock that will remain no matter what." Amen. And that's the power of God that is independent of the world. Independent of people's opinions. Independent of your moods. Independent of what happens in the world around you. There's only one power that is eternal. All the time. There have been saints and sages throughout history who have pointed to that presence, who have relied on that presence. Some of the most intelligent people in our world today believe in the power of God. And it's your birthright to do so. Let's get still for a moment. And I'd like to invite you to bring your awareness to the base of your spine, to the root chakra. And we're going to use that beautiful Sanskrit sound of Om. to quicken, to free up, to circulate the energy at the base of the spine. I'd like you to bring, you're gonna divide your attention in one sense. You're gonna bring your gaze to the point between the eyebrows, the spiritual eye. And while you bring your gaze to the spiritual eye, I want you to use that wonderful sound of Om. And I want you to Om at the base, at the root chakra. So while your awareness is at the point between the eyebrows, you're Oming at the root chakra. So let's do that now. Just a Om, Om, Om. 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 And now offer that energy from the root chakra upward to the next chakra, the second chakra. Offer that energy. Let that energy flow up. Let the energy start to flow so that you begin to feel greater determination. You begin to feel greater rootedness, greater groundedness, greater faith, greater strength, greater power. Let that energy begin to flow to the second chakra so that you become less obstinate, less resistant to change. You begin to feel more open, more available, more ready to move with spirit. And let us affirm and know, my mind is steadfast as a rock. My mind is steadfast as a rock. Together, my mind is steadfast as a rock. Again, my mind is steadfast as a rock. A little quieter. My mind is steadfast as a rock. My mind is steadfast as a rock. In a whisper, my mind is steadfast as a rock. My mind is steadfast as a rock. Mentally only, my mind is steadfast as a rock. My mind is steadfast as a rock. We thank you, Father, Mother God, for this truth, this eternal truth, these teachings, this ancient wisdom that helps us to be more of who we are here to be, that helps us to awaken to our light, awaken to our joy, awaken to the person that we're here to be. And so it is. Amen. Special thanks to our musicians today, Johanna Beekman with her dad, George Beekman, and also Eddie Watkins Jr. Let's give them a warm thank you. And if you signed on to watch the message, we appreciate you being with us. You can see a donation link there. We certainly appreciate your support. To help just leave one behind and to do all the work for you, you got to have sharing that with you and awakening these chakras. So following the service today, we got Ask Me Anything Together for Protection. The light surrounds us. God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. All right, hello everyone again, and welcome to Ask Me Anything. We're happy you're with us this morning this afternoon now, wherever you are. I don't know what time it is where you are online, but welcome. So we're going to do some spiritual questions. We're going to take some in the space, and we're going to take some online. I think we have some that have been requested in advance. So do I have my runner ready with the microphone, Stefan? For people in the space. We're going to need that. So let's go with the first question. We got one online for me or one in the space. Anybody have a question? Okay. For those of you online, you can type in the chat your question or submit it through the website. At this point, I don't know why you would go to the website and do it. Just type it in the chat, and I'll answer it. And does anyone in the space have a question? This would be a good time for it. All right, well, it's been fun.
I have a question.
Yes.
Yes.
Tell us your
Justin-
name, too. It's nice for people to get to associate people.
My name's Lara. Justin, you and I have talked a little bit about this. It's more when you have these spiritual qualities that you care and that you love, and when you're in an intimate relationship and it ends, sometimes it ends and the other person doesn't want any contact. And especially if you had a good experience, it's difficult for me to accept. I don't see the reason why you cannot check in with the other person every now and then. Hello, how are you? It's just kindness.
Yeah.
And it bothers my heart a lot. And what I'm trying to understand is, because I feel that if an ending, so to speak, has a soft landing, it also helps heal the relationship and heal the heart, and lets both people go on their way to whatever separate ways. But when you have such a harsh and don't send me any more messages, etc., kind of an ending, it does not leave my heart in peace. It's very difficult, and over time, through prayer, the heart heals. But I'm wondering, is that my ego that is trying to control, or wishes the situation would have ended otherwise? So how do I quicken this process?
Yeah. Okay. I hear you. First of all, we're not in a counseling session, so if this was a counseling session, I would really help you to dig deep inside yourself more to find out what's going on. So I'm just going to answer it so that it applies to you and anyone else, because a lot of people have been through that situation where you end a relationship, the relationship ends, and the other person doesn't really want to have any more communication. And then you've probably, people have been in other relationships where you're still able to be friends. You're still able to communicate and say, hey, how are you doing? Oh, I'm doing great. How are you? And so you're saying that this relationship ended, and did it end? Did it have a smooth ending, did you say? A soft ending? Or you're wanting to communicate so that it will have a soft ending? I just trying to understand the question a little better. Did it end softly, or did it end more harsh?
There was no reason for it to end harshly. Like, the other person, once a relationship ends, the other person's of the mind, don't want to communicate anymore.
Okay. All right. So there was sort of the communication stopped. And that was it abruptly. It's like, okay, this is over. I don't want to communicate at all. Right? I mean, you asked me a very specific question. Is that my ego, that my heart is hurting? And yes, it is. It is our ego, right? And that's not a bad thing. That's not a blame thing. In fact, I certainly can understand, why can't we still communicate? We cared about each other, we loved each other. I still want to be your friend. We can still be friends, we can still communicate. And that is true, that can be the case in a relationship that ends. But not everyone wants that. Everybody's different, right? Everybody has their own growth that they have to do without, going into... I would encourage you to, I imagine you probably already have and are, why does that hurt me? Why do I feel sad about that? Why does that bother me? Looking at those emotions and letting yourself feel the sadness, letting yourself feel the grief. Noticing, well, I would like communication. And recognize that not everyone does. I mean, I've been through that myself as well. Gee, why doesn't she want to, I text the person and I get a one line, oh, I'm good. And it's like, wow, why? I don't understand. I don't think we will understand. Everybody has different needs and different consciousness. Everyone, they may not be able to maintain a friendship with you. Their heart might be too much. They're either all in or they can't be. Right? They can't manage their emotions staying in contact with you. That may be the case. There are some people where they're not getting what they want, and so they go somewhere else to get what they want. They're not getting it from you, so they're going to go somewhere else. So why continue to communicate with you? That's the most crass view of some, but I think it's true. I think it's true. I don't think that when we're in relationships that we're necessarily, if we could measure our consciousness and our maturity, and there was such a scale that you could, on a scale of 0 to 100, where is my spiritual evolution? I see you smiling there. Where is my spiritual evolution? Where is their spiritual evolution? Where is my maturity? Where is their maturity? It's not necessarily equal. Probably isn't equal most of the time. Especially if you've been on a spiritual journey all your life, which I'm guessing you have. It's not going to be that way. So, you can do it. You can maintain a friendship, but not necessarily them. Either they're not emotionally ready, they can't handle it, or they just don't want to because they're not getting what they need from you, so they're going to go, why waste their time and energy that way? I mean, that's that's the real blunt, spectrum. And there's probably other reasons that we don't know. So, yeah, it's your ego, because if we're totally filled in love and joy, and that's what our goal is, then it'd be, okay, bye. Have a wonderful life. If I can be of service, let me know. If I can be of any help, let me know. I'm always there for you if you need me. And then we're totally free. We're so filled with love and joy that we don't, we're not attached to it. You see? But what can happen is, well, why don't they? What, did I do something wrong? Was I not good enough? Did I not end this well? Why don't they value me more? Why don't they, that's ego, right? And we all do it, to some degree. It's all going on for all of us some level. And that's ego. So once you recognize that's ego, you can learn to accept your ego, and just stop trying to get that person to do it. Let them go. Let them go. They need to go. Let them go. And accept your feelings. Let the grief come up. Let the sadness. Let the anger. Let the, watch the mind that starts doing all the talking, and raise your consciousness up. And recognize, that's fine. I bless you. I love you. I bless you. I release you. I let you go. And just move on. Count it as a learning experience. It was valuable in itself. You shared stuff. It was valuable. It was a good learning life lesson. There was joy in it. There was fun in it. And it's over. And now let them go. And bless them on their journey. Don't hold them back mentally, emotionally, spiritually. See them moving forward, living a life that's fulfilled and happy, and give them your blessing. And I'm sticking with that. But I appreciate your love and your heart that wants to have that, and that doesn't see any reason why it can't be that way. I mean, that's wonderful. And you got to just let them go. Dr. Klausner. How are you, Dr. Klausner? Does unity answer the question why there are evil events in the world caused by certain heads of nations and by individuals engaging in horrific actions, by saying that after God created the world and humans, she gave them free choice in capital letters? Oh, can you all read that? No, you can't see it up there. Rather than making them such that they never would engage in evil deeds. Well, you answered the question, Dr. Klausner. You wise soul, you. Yes, God gave us free choice. She didn't make us puppets, right? We have free choice. And she also, according to sages, created a lot of enticing illusion in the world that we can get lost in and really get lost and frustrate our divinity so that we do some evil crap and some hurtful stuff. I can say crap because even St. Paul said crap. He said skubla in the Greek, which means crap, if I remember it correctly. So yeah, we frustrate our divinity. God didn't want to make puppets, so he gave us freedom of choice. And we can choose to listen to our higher power, our higher self, or we can get lost and caught up in our ego and get lost and caught up in the delusion and the enticements of the outer world and the belief systems of the world. St. Paul said, be in the world. Well, Jesus said, be in the world, but not of it. Paul said, be transformed by the renewing of your mind. Be not conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. So don't go by what the world thinks and what the ego thinks, but rather seek to follow your spiritual guidance. So that's what unity says. Unity says God is the only presence and power in the universe, and that evil is a result of frustrating our divinity, which we have freedom of choice to do. So thanks for your question, Dr. Klausner. You answered it well. Anybody else? Yes. Tell everybody your name.
Hi, I'm Terry, and I've been wondering about this for a long time, and I've asked people, but no one seems to give me or know the answer. Why?
Uh-oh.
No, you're not on the spot. Why in the Jewish tradition they didn't accept Jesus as the Messiah?
Oh, why in the Jewish tradition do they not accept Jesus as the Messiah? Okay. Well, that is an interesting question. And of course, I was raised Jewish, right? I went to Hebrew school the first 6 years of my life, of grade school. Grades 1st through 6th, half a day was English studies, and half a day was Hebrew studies. It was run by rabbis. There were some rabbis from Israel. There was, it was the Hebrew Academy of Tidewater. And I was bar mitzvahed in an Orthodox temple. My dad, we were of the Kohen tribe, which is the priestly tribe, and my dad got asked to read the Torah during the services. He would get called up to do that. Personally, I always wondered, were we really the Kohen, or did my grandfather just make that up because they wanted to be the best from an ego standpoint? I trust it was the right thing. I guess the synagogue probably would have looked into that. But I chose, at some point in my life, I had a problem and I was lost. And I started looking for truth, seeking truth. So I'm answering this from a personal point of view first, because really I can only really talk for myself. I was looking for answers to, I'm lost, I'm burnt out, depressed, whatever I was. How do I get out of this? And I picked up one of my mother's yoga books and started to read it. And I thought, that makes sense. Happiness is within you. And I thought, if that's true, that would solve all the problems of the world. So I started on that journey of knowing that truth. And when I was in college, I started to read the Bible. My girlfriend at the time gave me a children's Bible where Jesus' words were highlighted. And I read the Bible. And I read the Old Testament too, and I started going back to synagogue. I went to synagogue in Harrisonburg, Virginia, and in that particular synagogue, they were talking about all the countries that had nuclear weapons and what we should do about it. This was a long time ago, 1985. And I was talking to people about yoga and what I was learning. Back then, yoga was weird. Nobody knew what yoga was, except people wearing Birkenstocks and, hippies, old hippies knew what yoga was, and yogis. So I thought, well, that's not really working for me. So I just went on my own journey. Before that, I just grew up, and I think this might be the case for a lot of Jewish people. Judaism is a religion and it's also a culture. I learned that in college in a course on world religions. That a lot of people consider themselves Jewish even though they're not religious. And a lot of, so you can be considered yourself Jewish and not be religious. You can consider yourself Jewish and not even believe in God, in my understanding. So I grew up, fortunately, my family was very respectful of other people's religions. And I just respected some people who believed in Jesus and then Jewish people didn't. That's for them. They believe in Jesus. I don't know who Jesus was. I'm talking for myself as a kid. I don't really know about Jesus. I don't know what he did, but I know that Christians think he's important, that he was a great teacher, and great. They do their thing, I do mine. For us, Judaism was something you did on the holidays. We kept kosher, but we only went to synagogue on the holidays. Maybe we lit candles for Hanukkah. Maybe we went to the relatives for Passover. But the rest of life, I didn't think much about it. So why would I care about Jesus? I didn't really care about Jehovah. I just thought, yeah, I believe in God. I respect people. I respect God. I respect religion. But there's religion, and then there's my life. Religion is just one little compartment of my life. It's an identity. Yeah, I'm Jewish. Part of my self-concept. I'm Jewish. My family's Jewish. On the holidays, we go to the temple. And we take those days off when you give us our days off for the Jewish holiday. Definitely take those. But that was separate from living. I don't think I ever prayed about winning a wrestling match. I was a wrestler, I was a golfer. In fact, I read an article one time of a pro golfer who used to believe that God helped him psychologically. His faith in God helped him with his golf game. And I thought, that's nonsense. God's got too much to do to be dealing with your golf game. See what I mean? And guess what? I think that's how a lot of people think about God and religion nowadays. They thought that way then, they think that way now. What does it have to do with my life? See, it's just indifference. Why would a Jewish person care about Jesus? Do they care about their own religion? It's the same as for a Muslim, a Hindu. I'm not focusing on Judaism. I'm saying for any religion. If you're Catholic, Protestant, Baptist, if you're Muslim, if you're another religion, Buddhist, there are a lot of people in these so-called religions who don't think about God during the day. Or if they do, it's rote, that they don't even think about it. They just do it because they were raised to do it. So why don't people embrace Jesus as the Lord and Savior? Which, is unity. We think of it differently. We don't think of Jesus in that way. Why aren't Jewish people interested in that? Why isn't the whole world interested in it? Why isn't everybody interested in what Jesus had to say? Why isn't everybody interested in what Krishna had to say, what Moses had to say, what Muhammad had to say? Why? Because we're so caught up in the world of illusions and the false beliefs that we've been raised in that we don't think the answer lies in religion or in God. We think the answer lies in materialism, in the ego. Until we suffer enough. When we suffer enough, then we either die disillusioned and bitter, or we start to wake up and seek the truth and live it in our life, and hopefully die with a smile on our face because we feel the joy and the presence of God and the love within us and around us, and we anticipate that I'm an immortal being and that this earth is not my home. God is my home. Thank you for that question. Anybody else? All right, no burning spiritual question. We got one. Burning spiritual question. Tell us your name.
Christopher Priore, a new Unity member. And just with people where, my question has to do with intimate relationships in terms of family members or close friends, colleagues that you interact with a lot, or they mean something to you, and so
Yes.
you hope the best for them.
Yes.
I love them.
Yes.
When people, especially in the world we live in, they have opinions that are very different from ours.
Yes.
They're not necessarily spiritual based, they're angry, they have grievances.
Yeah.
We all experience that so much in the world because of social media and the news.
Yeah.
So in those kinds of situations that you care about the person, they can affect your day with their grievance and their comment. Any advice on a way to respond to them when they say something outlandishly biased and bigoted or, hurtful, and you wish they weren't that way, but you don't want to, I don't want to sound condescending or create an argument or inflame that, but somehow silence doesn't always seem like the best thing. And of course, this is hard for you to answer because it's vague, it's not a specific situation I'm referring to, but just
Right.
we all are sort of interact with that, especially today
Yeah.
in today's world.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah. That's okay if it's vague. I'll just give you a vague answer. No, I'm kidding. No, I'm kidding. So, it's the desire to, because you love your loved ones and friends, and sometimes you hear them say things that you consider negative, or maybe they're worrying, maybe they're angry. You don't see how it's helpful to them and for them. So we're expressing this from a point of love, which is you really care about those people. It's not a intellectual mind thing, which is, well, they're obviously wrong. They got the wrong point of view. So many people in the world are like that today, aren't they? They got the right point of view and you got the wrong point of view. It's amazing to see this in adult people, that so many people think they're right and everybody else is wrong. Well, wow. That is fascinating. No, you're coming from a place of, if someone is talking about, they're worrying about something, I don't want to assume, but I'm going to assume. You can correct me. Let me just get to the bottom line. You care and love them, and you want the highest and best for them. Ultimately, it's not your responsibility. Ultimately, they're God's responsibility. God created them. God brought them into the world. God is expressing as them. That's their true nature. The highest thing we can do for another person is to behold the divinity within that person. Has nothing to do with their personality, has nothing to do with their opinion, it has nothing to do with their emotional life. It is all about their wholeness and completeness as a spiritual being. Lifting up that presence within them is the greatest thing we can do for another human being. Emily Cady, who wrote the classic book, Lessons in Truth, she said, you can do more for a person by lifting up the Christ, the divinity within them, than a whole year of arguing, logic, all of that. And it's so freeing when we know that. When we know I can simply say to that person, I behold the Christ, in our mind, in prayer, I behold the Christ in you. I trust that God is working in you for your highest good and the highest good of all concerned. And I free you and release you and trust you in God's care. That's the greatest thing you can do for another person. And then you trust it. Emily Cady has, I referred this to a lot of people. She has a book called How I Use Truth. Emily Cady. You can buy, actually, there's online, you can buy a thing that includes both books, maybe 3 books. Lessons in Truth, How I Use Truth, and then another one. There's a chapter in there that basically says this. And she says you can't keep, if you plant a seed, you can't keep digging it up. You got to trust. Trust that in the darkness, that seed is growing. Trust that with the sun, the rain, that seed is growing. And then when it's ripe and ready, it's going to grow. It's going to come out. You don't have to keep digging it up. You just have to trust that it's taken place. And so, now here's where you say sometimes silence doesn't seem like the right thing. That's where we have to discern and pray. Spirit, do you want me to say something? Do you not want me to say something? You consult your inner self? Or do you want to say it for your own ego? You want to say it because I'm saying you, not because just you, Christopher, every one of us. Do you want to say it because you want to feel smart? You want to say it because you need to feel helpful? You want to say it because it makes you feel important? You want to say it for ego reasons? Or do you want to say it from your higher self, which is, what does my higher self want me to say? What does my higher self want me to do? Does it feel right for me to keep silent? Or does it feel right for me to say, have you thought about it in this way? Do we need to say something? Of course, if someone's suicidal, you say something, and say, well, best of luck. I behold the Christ in you. No, you learn how to deal with someone who is suicidal, right? That's an extreme case. But I've talked to people who says it's tremendously freeing to know that the best thing I can do for another person is to behold the Christ in them and trust the activity of God working in them. And then follow your guidance as to whether you say something or don't say something. And that's what I find. You're not responsible for other people, ultimately. God is. And they're responsible for themselves. You can be a loving support, and you do that through prayer and by saying or listening and not saying based on your inner guidance. Sometimes you'll be right, sometimes you won't be, but your intention is there. Thank you for that question. We got an online question from Shanice. Hi, Shanice. How to keep focus on yourself and keep negative energy away from yourself. If you remain centered in your God self, Shanice, that's the main thing. Being centered in yourself. Reading spiritual stuff, being around spiritually minded people, taking time for prayer and meditation every day, learning to value your own worth, what we talked about today. If you didn't see the message today, make sure you watch it. Talked about being loyal to yourself. Can't please everybody. In fact, when you try to please everybody, you end up displeasing more people than if you don't try to please everyone. It's funny, the people who seek the most approval are the ones that don't get it. The ones who don't need the approval, they end up getting it. Wonder why that is. Psychological trick? No. It's because when you discover your peace and your wholeness and you don't need to be approved of, you start attracting. You're vibrating from a different frequency. You're coming from a different frequency. So you got to take care of yourself, Shanice. There's always going to be negative energy around. Jesus Christ encountered some. Gandhi encountered some. Buddha encountered some. It's just the nature of the world. You're going to encounter negative energy. The question is, how are you going to deal with it? How do you let it teach you? Let it teach you. Watch how you respond to other people's energy. That tells you where your energy is. You see? Other people can tick us off because we got that energy inside of us. We didn't have that energy inside of us, it wouldn't bother us. Notice what ticks you off. Notice what you get upset about. Notice what you get judgmental about. Again, I'm including all of us in the you. Because that, you can't point the finger without having three point back at you, right? Let it guide you. Let it teach you. Let it say, okay, I'm getting all upset about the negative energy around me. Let me notice that the negative energy that I'm feeling right now. How am I dealing with that? Let me take some deep breaths. Let me get still. Yesterday I was in the grocery store. Saturday shopping at Whole Foods. It was a mob house, right? It was crazy in there. And people are in Saturday attitudes. They're looking at their phone, they're in a hurry, la, la, la. They're walking, and, I'm from Virginia, back in many, many years ago. It's not that way now. People didn't just step right in front of you. I've been here, I've lived in New York a total of 17 years. And there's still a Virginian inside of me that sometimes buttons get pushed when someone steps right in front of me or whatever. We call that rude back in Virginia. And I recognize that's not the way it is. And yesterday, it was like one thing after, well, not one thing after another. There were a few incidents yesterday for me going to the gym and then going to the grocery store where it was like one thing after another that was pushing those Virginia, that's rude behavior buttons. And I could feel the annoyance. And I could see the thought pattern in myself of, and I thought to myself, boy, your mind is really getting critical. Your mind is very critical today. And you know what? Just that awareness, I felt myself relax. I felt my heart become peaceful. Just by noticing it and acknowledging it. Boy, your mind is really getting critical today, Justin. And then it just relaxed. So let it teach you. Let the world teach you. Don't try to get rid of it. Get rid of the negative people. Don't try to get rid of it, but let it teach you. Can you be in the midst of it and be loving? Can you be in the midst of it and be calm? Can you be in the midst of it and be serviceful? Can you shift your energy when you are bothered by it? Or at least be aware of your energy and not react. I didn't slap anybody. I didn't say anything to anybody. But I was getting a little bit annoyed. My mind was. So, and sometimes it's appropriate to speak up. Sometimes I will speak up. Hopefully I'm doing it out of guidance and not reacting. That's the trick. Sometimes I don't want to react. Take some deep breath. Well, they're long gone. You missed your chance. Sometimes you got to say something. Sometimes, you got to speak up. Sometimes you got to stand up. Sometimes you got to be not nice. So that's what I have to say about that. Well, thank you all for your questions, and thank you for coming to Ask Me Anything. And God bless you, and have a great rest of the day. Thank you. Try not to cut me off on the way to the door. No, that's good. Thank you. You're welcome.